Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we'll be doing the story Old Man at the Bridge by Ernest Hemmingway. This is the story of a very old man who had to leave behind his family, which was also his cattle, because of a war, right? This one, just like after Blenheim, shows the effect of a war on common civilians who are not even interested in the war, those who have not even taken part in the war, right? This man, he is taking no side. He's not a part of the war, right? He's not supporting anybody, not a, he's not considering anybody as enemy, but he still has to leave behind his cattle. He has to leave behind something that's a part of his life for like so long, and he's very sad about it as well. We'll see as the story goes. And just the fact that he had to leave them behind also kind of makes him hopeless in life. Eventually, he's not even interested in getting up and moving. He's just tired and he's just sitting there. He does not care what happens. Let's get started. An old man with steel rimmed spectacles and very dusty clothes sat by the side of the road. There was a pontoon bridge across the river, and carts, trucks, and men, women, and children were crossing it. The mule-drawn carts staggered up the steep bank from the bridge with soldiers, helping push against the spokes of the wheels. The trucks ground up and away, heading out of it all, and the peasants plodded along in the ankle-deep dust. But the old man sat there without moving. He was too tired to go any further. Now, first of all, they start with the description of the old man, and as you can see, it's not a very bright description. So it is about the surroundings, the picture that they're painting. They're painting an old man with steel rimmed spectacles, right? The tired person, steel rimmed spectacles. It's basically like a metal wire along the whole skeleton of the spectacles. You might have seen those in like the Harry Potter spectacles, but like thinner. The skeleton would be way thinner. And very dusty clothes sat by the side of the road. So now, old man, steel rimmed spectacles, very dusty clothes sat by the side of the road. There was a pontoon bridge across the river. A pontoon bridge is like a temporary bridge or a floating bridge which is built for a temporary use. Now, in this case, this bridge would be cut off, it would not be used anymore after everybody was transported from one side to the other. What all was going through the bridge? Carts, trucks, men, women, and children were crossing it. Carts, trucks, men, women, and children. These are the keywords. The mule-drawn carts staggered up the steep bank from the bridge, and soldiers helping push against the spokes of the wheels. So now it's a pontoon bridge, right? It's not a very smooth ride for any sort of vehicle, any sort of transport vehicle. The mule cart, just like the others, was not having a smooth journey. So what were the other soldiers doing? They were helping push the vehicle along, so it would be faster for the people to get across the bridge, and more people could use it to cross the way. The trucks ground up and away, heading out of it all, and the peasants plodded along in the ankle-deep dust. So the trucks, right, just like the carts, they are using trucks to get along the bridge. So the trucks ground up and away, meaning the trucks are motorized, right? So once they get in, just start and accelerate the vehicle, it will just pass through the bridge. The soldiers won't need to help here. Heading out of it all, and the peasants plodded along. Plodded meaning walked slowly. Walked slowly. And it was also, they're having heavy steps, Yeah, they're having some very heavy steps. Okay. In the ankle deep dust. Now, why ankle deep dust? As the trucks and everything are moving around, the dust is being disturbed, right? So it's about flying as high as their ankle, you can say. But the old man sat there without moving. He was too tired to go any farther. The old man, he was way too tired to walk like the peasants, right? Because he's an old person, he does not have the strength. So he just sat there without moving, and he was too tired to go any further. He could not move along. It was my business to cross the bridge, explore the bridgehead beyond, and find out to what point the enemy had advanced. I did this and returned over the bridge. There were not so many carts now, and very few people on foot, but the old man was still there. So, again, Ernest Hemingway, the narrator, he participated in a war where he was a lookout, right? His job was to look across the bridge and inform the people, the main superior, the heads over there, about where the troops of the opposition party had reached. So it was his business, meaning it was his job to cross the bridge and explore the bridgehead beyond. Bridgehead meaning the place where the bridge is being connected to the land, right? So it's his job to look ahead into the bridgehead, right? So he crosses and looks around, and once he's coming back, there were not so many carts and very few people on foot, meaning so many people hadn't transported, and there were not so many carts over there, not at all any. And you can almost say not at all any, like almost empty, and very few people, but the old man could still be seen, meaning even though he was tired, he should have gotten up and moved, right? He should have relocated, because there's an enemy coming, right? An enemy party, he would have to face their wrath the very first thing. But he was so tired, he could not move even for his life. "Where do you come from?" I asked him. "From San Carlos," he said and smiled. That was his native town, and so it gave him pleasure to mention it, and he smiled. So, since the old man is sitting there, he decides to go ahead and talk to the old man himself, and he asks, "Where do you come from?" If someone asks you, right, what is your hometown, you'd be very proud to tell them about it. You'd be happy to tell them about it. You know, personally for me, if someone asks me about my hometown, I would love to tell them about what my hometown is. And mostly it would bring a smile to my face, because I've spent so much time with my grandparents over there and with my family over there. Similarly, because he was asked about his hometown over here, the old man smiles at the thought of it. So he says San Carlos. We must remember this. It can be asked as an MCQ question. Where was the old man from? He was from San Carlos. And again, him smiling indicates that just the thought of his hometown is giving happiness to him. It was his native town, so it gave him pleasure to mention it, and he smiled. "I was taking care of animals," he explained. "Oh," I said, not quite understanding. Now it is completely contextless, right? Because he has asked what town, and he has replied about his native town, and now there's no question that he has asked, but he's still interested in telling him, "I was taking care of animals." This is kind of sad, Suddenly he's drifting in his memories. He's thinking of his animals. It indicates that the thing at the back of his mind is just his animals right now. "Oh," I said, not quite understanding. Now there are so many people who take care of animals, right? Cattle rearing is it's a great job in towns. So he just like, it's not so important. He just says, "Oh." It's basically like when you're uninterested and you don't find the message, whatever the other person is trying to convey, but you just say okay and move along. "Yes," he said, "I stayed, you see, taking care of animals. I was the last one to leave the town of San Carlos." He did not look like a shepherd nor a herdsman, and I looked at his black dusty clothes and his great dusty face and his steel rimmed spectacles and said, "What animals were they?" So he said, "Yeah, I was taking care of animals, I was still there. I was the very last person to leave San Carlos." Now he's explaining, I love my animals so dearly that I was the very last person to leave San Carlos. I could not leave them at all. So I was there till the end, until I had to eventually leave them with no other option. He did not look like a shepherd or a herdsman. Okay, so now they're again describing the old man. Did not look like a shepherd or a herdsman. One. Looked at his dusty clothes, black dusty clothes, grey dusty face, steel rimmed spectacles. Right. This is almost what's given on top, but context to this time period. Over there they had side of the road and just old man. Those things are also inculcated here. The actual, you can say, the characteristics, along with not a shepherd or a herdsman. So they're describing his grey dusty face, black dusty clothes, and steel rimmed spectacles. Don't forget to number them as well, because when you're revising, then you'd be able to remember, okay, I have missed this one. You could just count them on your fingers and be like, okay, I missed this one, and then read it over again. And said, so, and then after observing all of this about the old man, he asked, "What animals were they?" "Various animals," he said, and shook his head. I had to leave them. So again, he's so sad. On being asked, okay, what animals were they? He says like there were various animals, right? And then he shakes his head as in like left to right, and he said, I had to leave them. It's basically him showing his sadness on being on having to leave his animals, his beloved animals over there. I was watching the bridge and the African looking country of the Ebro Delta and wondering how long now it would be before we would see the enemy, and listening all the while for the first noises that would signal the ever mysterious event called contact. And the old man still sat there. Now, the narrator, or Ernest Hemmingway, who's the lookout for the war, he's watching at he's looking at the head of the bridge, wherever, as far as he can see on the pontoon bridge, in the African looking country, how he's describing his surroundings. African looking country, Ebro Delta, right, of the Ebro Delta. The Ebro Delta is like, deltas are basically where two rivers meet, right? So there's this Ebro Delta, and it was an African looking country, and he's waiting there for the first sounds of the enemy, right? To see the enemy. And he was still listening for the very first signals that of the ever mysterious event contact. Contact means when the two armies are face to face and they're starting the war, okay? And the old man still sat there. He is expecting the enemies, the opposition party, to come over at any time, okay? And he's also, you can say, he's prepared, right? Anytime those people will come over here. But the old man is still sitting there. He's not at all eager to move, right? And he's so tired. It's not even possible for him to move. So it's kind of a problematic situation there. The old man will probably die the very first thing. What animals were they? Now he's again asking, okay, what animals were they? There were various animals. What animals exactly? There were 3 animals altogether. Now 3 means he's talking about the categories, okay? There were 2 goats, a cat, and 4 pairs of pigeons. So goat, cat, and pigeons. And in all, how many animals were there? There were 11 animals in all. 2 goats, a cat, and 4 pairs of pigeons. 4 pairs. A pair is 2 and 4 pairs is 8. And you had to leave them, I asked. And then he is asking, oh, so these are the animals that you had to leave? Yes, because of the artillery. The captain told me to go because of the artillery. Now he says, yeah, I had to leave them because of the artillery. Artillery is, you can say, the army, okay, the army of the opposing party. So the opposing parties would soon cross through San Carlos, and they would kill everybody in the wake, right? So the captain of the evacuating team asked him to leave the place because of the artillery. And you have no family, I asked, watching the far end of the bridge where a few last carts were hurrying down the slope of the bank. And then he's asking, okay, you are talking about your cattle. You're so sad about your cattle. Don't you have a family? That's a question, genuine question for him. I asked, watching the far end of the bridge where a few last carts were hurrying down the slope of the bank. It was also, you can say that almost all the carts had been evacuated. A last few, the final few were there, which were being crossed across the bridge. And, last carts meaning it's almost everybody is gone now. In some time, only this old man will be left there. The slope of the bank is basically, you might have seen that the river banks are not, you can say, not perfectly cut rocks or something. They're not cliffs or anything. They eventually slope into the waters, and then it's a very slope lane down there. So the slope, and eventually it's connected to the pontoon bridge in this case. So you're seeing the carts cross the slope and then go along the pontoon bridge. No, he said, only the animals, I stated. The cat of course will be all right. A cat can look out for itself. But I cannot think what will become of the others. He says, no, I don't have the family. I only had these animals that I stated. These 11 animals, I'd been looking after them all the while. And they're my only family, you can say. And then he says, I am not worried about the cat, but the goats and the pigeons, I'm worried about those. A cat can look out for itself. One reason being, cats are very smart, okay? They're like one of the smartest creatures over here. They can look after themselves easy. And also there's this thing saying where cats have 9 lives. So it's basically, if a cat even makes a mistake, right, it can easily fend for itself, find another way, get itself out of trouble. But the goats are very, you can say, poor babies kind of thing, and he's worried about the pigeons as well. He says that I cannot think what will become of the others. He said I cannot even imagine what will happen to the others. The cat can look after himself, but what about the other 10? What politics have you? I asked. So he's asking, which side are you in this war? Whom do you support in the war? I am without politics, he said. I'm 76 years old. I have come 12 kilometers now, and I think now I can go no further. This is not a good place to stop, I said. If you can make it, there are trucks up the road where it forks for Tortosa. Now he's saying, I'm without politics. I don't support any side. He says, I'm 76 and I've come 12 kilometers now. So he's walked these 12 kilometers, a 76-year-old man, and he says that I'm too tired now. I don't think I can make it any further. He says that this is not a good place to stop. He's explaining this old man. He understands that the man is old and tired and everything, but he also needs to explain the old man that it's not the best place to stop. There'll be the artillery will be coming here any minute now, right? So he's saying, please do not stop here. It's not a very safe place. If you walk a bit, you'll find trucks which are going for Tortosa, and where it forks for Tortosa, meaning it's going to Tortosa basically. I will wait a while, he said, and then I will go. Where do the trucks go again? Now he's asking, okay, I'll wait a while because again he's tired, he's very tired. And then he says, okay, I'll wait a while and then I'll go there. And where do they go? He's asking the exact location where they'll be going. Towards Barcelona, I told him. He's explaining to him, yeah, they go towards Barcelona. But it's actually going to Tortosa. You can say the destination is Tortosa, the direction of its journey will be towards Barcelona. I know no one in that direction, he said, but thank you very much. Thank you again very much. He's saying, I don't know anybody in that direction, but in times of such dire need, you don't care where you're going. You just need to go to a safe place, right? If there's a war going on and you don't have a relative, say in, you don't have a relative in Bangalore, but all the trucks and all the carriages are now going southwards. All your relatives in the North India. But suppose you have to go away from Bombay, right? Mumbai. Would you say, oh my god, I don't have any relatives in Bangalore, let these go, I'll just find my way towards the north somewhere? You cannot do that, right? Anytime there'll be a full-fledged attack over there, so you just want to escape this place. You'll see somehow later on how you can cross through towards the north, right? You just need a safe haven right now. So after thanking the soldier and knowing about where the truck will go and which direction it's heading, he looks at the soldiers blankly and tiredly. Death said, having to share his worry with someone. The cat will be all right, I'm sure. There's no need to be unquiet about the cat. But the others, now what do you think about the others? Imagine, right? Just imagine parents leaving their kids in a particular place. You can say there's an earthquake and everybody has to fend for themselves. The kid is somewhat around 10, right? If while running away from the place of the earthquake, the parent and the child are separated, how would it be? It would be so painful for the parent, and no matter what's happening, their life them itself is in danger. They'll be asking people about their child, right? They'll ask, have you seen my child? And they'll constantly ask, do you think my child will be all right? There'll be a tension in their mind, right? Similarly, for this old man, he gives the soldier a very blank and tired look, but at the same time he's asking, the cat will be all right, I'm sure. There's no need to be unquiet, meaning worried about the cat. There's no need to worry much about the cat. कोई tension लेने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. The cat can look after itself. But the others, he's genuinely worried about the pigeons and the goats. Now, what do you think about the others? He's asking, do you think they'll be able to live themselves? Do you think they'll be able to fend for themselves? Why, they'll probably come through it all right. You think so? And he's saying, yeah, they'll probably just live through it, They're animals, they'll know their way around. He's saying, you think so? He's asking, you think really there's a chance for them to live? Why not? I said, watching the far bank where now there were no carts. Now he's he's saying, yeah, why not? They look after themselves. He's the lookout. He's doing his job, right? While talking to the old man, he's looking for the enemy, as well as he's making sure that all the carts have been evacuated from there. So he says, yeah, yes, of course they will be able to look after themselves. And then he's also doing his job on the side. But what will they do under the artillery when I was told to leave because of the artillery? He's asking, okay, I was told to evacuate the place because of the artillery. What if the artillery comes across them, right? They will destroy them as well, they'll kill them as well. Now, looking at the genuine worry of the old man, the soldier also shows interest. He's like, did you leave the dove cage unlocked? He asked. So now he's asking, okay, have you left the dove cage unlocked? And he's saying, yeah, I have. He's saying, yeah, then the doves will fly. Don't worry about it. The pigeons will fly. So now the cats and the pigeons are all sorted. The only problem is the goats. Yes, they'll certainly fly. Then, but the others, it's better not to think about the others, he said. There's two goats remaining. 8 pigeons looked after, the cat looking after itself. Now the 2 pigeons that he's taken care of, right? He says, the others, the goats, I'm worried about them. And then he says, no, let's not even think about it. We better not think much about it. If you're rested, I would go, I urged. Get up and try to walk now. He said, see, if you have rested enough, you need to get up and leave now. The artillery will be coming here any minute. He says, okay, come on, get up and walk now. You need to get to the trucks. Thank you, he said, and got to his feet, swayed from side to side, and then sat backwards in the dust. So, he tried, okay? He genuinely tried to get up and then, listen to the soldier, listen to him, respect his words and try to move from there. He got to his feet. Now he is so tired. So you might know about this, that when you are very tired or when your legs are aching, when you walk, it's like a penguin walk basically. You're swaying from side to side. You're keeping your right foot down, you're tilting towards the right. Keeping your left foot down, you're tilting towards the left. So this old man, out of his tiredness and old age, you can imagine how he's swaying from side to side while he walks, right? And then finally, having an imbalance because of the tiredness, he sits back down. He just he staggers back down and he ends up sitting down again. I was taking care of animals, he said dully, but no longer to me. I was only taking care of animals. This shows his genuine sadness, okay? He's just walking and he sits back down. He has failed to move from there, and now he's telling himself, I was just taking care of animals, right? He's not even saying that to the soldier, he's saying that to himself, which basically shows that it's going on in his mind right now. There was nothing to do about him. It was Easter Sunday and the fascists were advancing towards the Ebro. It was a grey overcast day with a low ceiling, so their planes were not up. And that and the fact that cats know how to look after themselves was all the good luck the old man would ever have. So, no, there was nothing to do about him. The soldier could not help him even if he wanted to, right? The soldier could not do anything about it. He could not transport this old man there because he had to do his job of looking out for the enemies. And then the old man himself is not capable of actually moving towards the trucks, right? So he could not do anything. It was Easter Sunday and the fascists were advancing towards the Ebro. The fascists and you'll comment down, right? You also have this in the history book. It's there, right? The fascists and what's the other party? Comment down below if you know the answer. So it was an Easter Sunday and the fascists were advancing towards the Ebro. The enemy party is advancing towards the Ebro Delta. Okay, Ebro means the Ebro Delta. It was a grey overcast that day with a low ceiling. Now, the weather conditions to fly a plane has to be clear skies. Okay, you should be able to navigate and look at the skies should be clear. They should not be cloudy. There should be no overcast or anything. Today there is a grey overcast and a low ceiling, and this is one of the reasons the enemies cannot send their planes over, right? And this fact that it's a low ceiling and hence the planes cannot be sent over, and the fact that the cats knew how to look after themselves, was all the good luck the old man would have, would ever have. Meaning, this fact that there were going to be no planes around here, so he would not die from a plane attacking, and the fact that cats could look after themselves. Of all those animals, at least the cat was well to do. The case of the cat was all settled. That was all the luck that this old man was going to have that day, right? And that's it. This is where the story ends. We don't know if the old man dies, or if he finds his way, he's back, he's going towards Tortosa or Barcelona and stuff. It's just a cliffhanger like this. We don't know what happens of the old man. So guys, this is, as you guys can tell from the sound of it, a very sad story about how the old man is so helpless during the times of a war. This is the worst effects of the war, the adverse effects of the war, wherein the civilian is not at all taking a part in this war. He is not a reason at all for the war, but still he's having to face the repercussions. He's having to part from his beloved cattle, what he's also considered his family. He has to move, right? And they could have fought the war among the enemies and stuff, right? They could have left the civilians alone, but no, they do know that if the enemy comes across the civilians, they'll be sure to kill these people just to reduce even the number of strength supporting the other party. So yeah, that's it for the video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and thanks for watching.